Always in motion is the future. With that in mind, let's try predicting what's coming in 2022. That and more on this episode of the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 410. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. Actually going pretty well. We just finished our ops night with our team. Lords of Light. Yeah, what are we called again? Lords of Light.
You just got to start with the acronym LOL. Right?
Yes.
And then you make up words to go with it. That's how we roll.
I was going to say laughing out loud. That's not right. And we were doing operations on the pub side for conquest points. So we did veteran mode EV and story mode KP, and we ended at like 4 minutes before our normal end time. So it was pretty precise. And then earlier in the week, we did snowballs for MFN, which means we run around what basically means we run around in a crowd on Nar Shaddaa and throw snowballs at overheating droids.
Classic.
Yes, but then we really hang out in Discord and chat about movies and books and TV shows and anything that anyone wants to share about. And this time particularly, the chat was pretty epic, so that was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good.
So this is a total galactic war week, and we did invade a planet. Well, we invade a planet every week because that's a conquest thing, but I think I know our big push is going to come for the next total galactic war, because we could not do 3 total galactic wars.
No.
Back to back to back. It's just not. We couldn't. So we're going to focus on the next one coming up, but we do have. You still want to get conquest points. It's still part of the fun during the week.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. I started 2 sages on the Total Galactic War that just passed, and they're both just finished Coruscant, so I was playing one of them earlier today. And yeah, so conquest, chat, snowballs. But the snowballs, by the way, I guess we're going to mention this later, but snowballs until the 11th. So if you haven't finished hugging Wookiees and you haven't finished this throwing snowballs achievement, you still have plenty of time.
Yep. Get your 75,000 Wookiee hugs in.
Right.
And you'll
Get
be
them all
good
in.
to go. Good to go.
So that's me. How about you, Max?
Also having fun. I got all the achievements for the Life Day stuff except the Wookiees. Not doing that. Not doing that. Bought all the things I wanted. I had plenty of packages left over and that kind of thing. Everybody now is going for not only getting all the things, but getting 999 of all the decorations, like the hollow trees from throwing snowballs and things like that. That's where we're at these days. My challenge for some industrious person out there is to get enough snow-covered parcels to buy 999 of every deco on the Life Day vendor. There's a challenge that'll take another 10 years. Otherwise, I've been dabbling a little bit in the Total Galactic War. I do have new characters created as well. I think I'm going to hold back. I've got commandos ready to go. One is at 22 from last week. This week, I'm doing all my points just on my main commando. And I've got another commando at level 10. I think my 22 commando, I think I'm going to delete that, re-roll it. So that's at level 10. And probably have at least 2 more characters at level 10 ready to go on the Republic side for Total Galactic War a week and a half from now. Yes. I think that's going to be the big one where we're going to work extra hard and push, but we'll have to see, because our main conquest and invasion leader is phoning it in right now because there's some really cool real world stuff going on for BC. So jump in Discord if you want to hear more about that. But yeah, otherwise I've also been looking forward and keeping an eye on the news. Nothing really too much. We'll talk about the news here in just a second. Nothing too much, but I'm still keeping an eye on the PTS, dipping in there a little bit, watching the discussions as we prepare basically 1 month to go until we get 7.0. That's fun. So yeah, speaking of news with not much, there's a little bit there. So let's get into that.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
The only big news item that came up, which I thought was kind of cool, was there was sort of a State of BioWare address by Gary McKay, who is the VP and General Manager, Studio Director for BioWare Studios. So Gary's out of Canada. He's been running BioWare Studios for a while, in charge of the big studio properties like Star Wars: The Old Republic, like Dragon Age, like Mass Effect. So Gary has quite a nice letter here, sort of that was released just this afternoon here on the 6th, January 6th. Talks about how things have gone so far, what the year is like. Really prominently focuses on Star Wars: The Old Republic, though, in that letter, which was really nice for that to happen. To the point of,
Was
and we were noticing here in the pre-show, where he starts to talk about here, it's sort of halfway down, looking forward, and says, especially our upcoming releases. First off, so he leads with, first off, I'm excited to launch Legacy of the Sith, the latest expansion for Star Wars: The Old Republic, on February 15th. I'm excited to launch. That caught our eye. Some
yeah,
bold words there, Gary. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna say I'm launching it, then I think we need to hear a little bit more from Gary. I think Gary needs to come on the show.
yeah.
That's where I'm at. But I think that was really cool. It goes on a little bit and talks about what it means and what the expansion is, and talks about Manon and blah blah blah. Then goes on and mentions more stuff with Dragon Age and Mass Effect. So that should be interesting to hear where that ends up as well. I would love some more Mass Effect to come around. I never really got into Dragon Age too much, but I could see doing that. I would love to see some VR stuff. I've been really deep into VR lately. I would love to see some VR stuff, like Mass Effect VR would be I would really get into that. That would be really cool.
Mhm.
So that was cool. Thank you, Gary. I dug into Gary's LinkedIn profile. I've got that up here too. I needed to study up on Gary, which I thought was interesting to see.
Also, some reminders for this week. We are looking at another Feast of Prosperity starting on January 11th, and that will go for the sort of traditional 3 weeks. So it'll go until February 1st. And then, like we mentioned on the top of the show, Total Galactic War is coming back again on January 18th.
That's right. So this will be the third Total Galactic War, and it will cap out a series. I think that will be the last of the prequel events to 7.0. Then we'll have about 2 weeks of quiet period, or 3 weeks of quiet period, as they get ready for the launch. And who knows, they could throw something else in, a little surprise or a tease or something like that in the couple weeks leading up to the launch. I don't expect too much, because I think we probably would have seen it. They've only postponed about a week before, or 2 weeks before the previous date for the launch, and hadn't thrown any of those kinds of things in. So, but we're looking forward to it. And then finally, also during this period, and it will be shutting down again around that, with at least 3 weeks before the launch. The PTS is still up. Updates are still available. All of the threads for feedback are still out there. The time window when they can make tweaks and changes is closing. If you do have feedback, or you do have things you just want to check out and prepare for and test. We were talking today in our ops team about Galactic Season 2, which will be launching when 7.0 launches on February 15th. That is up there on the PTS as an example. You can go there, you can check it out, you can see what the rewards are, get a feel for how that's going to work out for you, and whether you're going to do what Marcus did, which is on day one, slap down the $20 to buy the season, or cartel coins, or you've got a plan for how you're going to get through it. So check out the
I mean,
PTS, provide that feedback.
it's not a lot of money for the peace of mind.
It does sort of, gets it off your plate. We all have a lot of things going on, and if you got the cartel coins sitting around, there's something to be said for not having another thing you gotta do. I did. Who knows? Maybe I'll do it differently this time. We each had our strategy last time. Seema sort of did it sort of well paced, sort of like perfectly paced. So it
Yes, I tried to be sort of organic about it. I wasn't completely organic though.
and I did it where I got the maximum number of objective points every week. So I was sort of like grinding it. Neither of us paid any cartel coins to sort of boost ahead. Maybe we'll shake it up this time. We'll see.
But with my method, I was willing to pay cartel coins if I get to the end and hadn't finished it.
Right.
But that didn't. But
Right.
that didn't
Right.
happen.
Because you've got that opportunity. Might
Yeah,
as well take your time, enjoy it, smell the roses or smell the
coffee or something.
Corellian space rose, whatever the
Yes,
case may be.
space rose.
Uh, and then reserve some coins on the side from your monthly subscription grant or whatever to do a little bit of buyout at the end if you need to. That
Yeah.
seems reasonable. What seems unreasonable is what I do, because that's how I roll. Community and guild news, AIE is kicking off the year and getting back into all of the swing of things. We had a really fun MFN, as you said, Seema. I think we're looking forward to Total Galactic War in 2 weeks, and we have new people still chiming in. We had a couple openings on a couple of our ops teams that it looked like Albus and Melung were looking to fill this week, and I think one of them may already have gotten filled by someone new who is new to the guild. Come on in, join us, aie-guild.org. Jump in Discord. You can see what Albus and Malung are looking for on those 2 teams. You can fill in on a couple of the other teams that are running throughout the week, Republic and Imperial side. So shout out to the chat room. Dark Light Smooth Wolf in there giving us the alternatives of other things we could be smelling along the way, like blue milk, Corellian ale, Corellian whiskey, green milk. Green milk's a thing? Why do I not know green milk is a thing? Used to drink green milk growing up. My mom had a thing about St. Patrick's Day and I always had to whip out that green food coloring and color everything green. So I drank plenty of green milk. Corellian whiskey I could probably get into. So that is that. Thank you very much, chat room. We will catch up with you after the show and the post show. But right now, I think we want to talk a little bit about the future.
Difficult to see. Always in motion is the future.
Always in motion is the future. Bing bong. Does anybody know what bing bong is? It's a thing.
I do now.
Always in motion is the future. Bing bong. There. That's what we're going to say right now to introduce our segment of predictions and wishes. So we do this every year. First podcast of the year. We've been doing it for 8 or 9 or million years now so far. I did pull up our 2021 predictions, Seema, and looking ahead by the little stars and the plus points that I see so far, you were the big winner. So let's start with some of your predictions and get into this because you were
So
spot on with a couple things. So
yeah,
go
one
ahead.
of the ones that was pretty spot on actually is I said an apartment-sized stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking maybe in Corellia, but that was just in parentheses.
Yes. Yeah. No,
Um,
I gave you full credit. Big star next to that one. Big gold star. Here, I'll show that on the stream. Here's the the notes. She's got a gold star right there next to
yes,
apartment sized
I
stronghold.
do love me a gold star.
Gold star for Seema
Um,
on that one.
yes, the rest of my stronghold predictions didn't come through though because I was thinking of some kind of a because we didn't get a new large stronghold, which I'm okay with. Totally.
I should have given you
Um,
a partial credit for UI upgrade or new feature added because we are getting UI upgrades that didn't actually
except
come out in
for
2021, but
I don't know because that was kind of with respect to strongholds, and that hasn't really
oh,
happened.
I see. It's under the stronghold subheading
Yeah.
there. Yes, you are correct.
I also predicted that there would be a tab for something that we don't currently have. Like, you know how we have a tab for all the materials in the game
Yeah,
and a tab for all the decos and all that stuff, but that didn't happen. I still would like that to happen, but um, yeah, hasn't happened. I also predicted some kind of inventory relief. Like I no longer predict searching or anything like that, sorting, because since there are no computers involved, sorting is impossible.
Yes,
Um,
that's completely unreasonable. I think you need quantum computers to work something like that out.
right. But some kind of inventory relief, like additional rows available in inventory or something, or some kind of development on the legacy storage that would free up something in some way. But, you know, maybe in the future. I also predicted that Valen would show up in some kind of a Q-like story, and by Q, I'm referring to the character Q in Star Trek, where she's super powerful and she can actually do anything, but she's has a low sort of emotional IQ, and you have to like win with her by well the way you win with Q, like
That's
you
kind of a
become
bold
his.
prediction to
He,
predict that.
I know.
It's cool. I like it.
Well,
But
I thought that yes,
I mean,
I thought
Valen
there were
coming back at
signs of it.
all, I think was a good prediction regardless. In fact,
Yeah.
I think I think you could potentially. I don't think she is, but I think you could keep that on the table. I think it's not out of the question in 7.0 in the 7.x timeframe that we see her in some capacity. I I kind of yeah, you're right. I kind of like this idea. I mean, just even as a wish of her like almost like as a force ghost with the most, but with extra abilities and able to like maybe get like climb into your mind like her dad did and do
Well, the way you win with her is you parent her in some way, like Picard would do with Q and teach
ah,
him something that he needed to learn
patience. Yeah, that's interesting.
by like outwitting him and also, being the bigger man and all
And
that.
yes, being the adult in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, Picard is so cool in Next Generation.
In Next Generation, right? Um,
That's a conversation for the post show. What else? Client upgrade. Oh, so this one I did give you a partial credit for. Client
yeah.
upgrade of some sort. Yes,
And then Malga's
it's on
storyline,
track.
that was kind of a gimme, but I don't know why I put Satele in this. I don't know. I'm
I
not
don't know why
sure
you
what I
put
was thinking
Satele.
there. I don't
Well,
remember.
she is
Around, I
involved,
right. Yeah, she is.
and then
Um,
you had one new operation, which
yeah.
again I gave you partial credit for that. It didn't actually end up getting released, but it was quite close, um, and will shortly. Well, that's not even going to be on the 15th though. Um, so
Yeah.
but we will get it.
And then I said additions to Bounty Contract Week and Green. What I meant by that were just not like huge changes to the events themselves, but like new things to buy and maybe a new daily or um because I think they could do that would be worth doing is to keep on
I think they
expanding each of the
should,
events.
and they have
Yeah.
done it with like the casino, the nightlife.
Yeah. That
They've
was what made me think of it. Yeah.
that's they should do that. They should refresh more of those. Bounty contract I think is a missed opportunity. It is kind of cool, and I haven't really done it since I got all the achievements and got exalted or whatever, and all the rep and everything, and bought all the things I wanted. There was really no reason to go back and do it again. I didn't even really get that much conquest points for like doing it.
Mhm.
Wasn't really much
Yeah.
reason at all. So I agree. They should. They should with all of them. They should fix them up a little bit. They should keep them fresh. That would be great. Anything else on your
I
predictions?
mean, I kind of thought there would be some kind of High Republic tie-in. I didn't really think
Yeah.
about what that would be, but
Was there any High Republic tie-in? I'm trying to think. I thought there was something like maybe not like something in the cartel market. Chat room, does seem like a partial credit? Was there any High Republic tie-in? Maybe there wasn't. Like a deco or cosmetics or weapons or I guess not. And then this last
and
one, did we actually have virtual canteen? I don't think we had it. another virtual cantina, did we? I think
Nothing that was called that. So, yeah,
they had
no, we
good
didn't.
streams. So maybe
Yeah.
here, I'll give you partial credit on that one then too. You get I'm using
Thank you.
the
Thank you
question
so
mark for that.
much.
Thank you. My predictions were relatively modest. I only had 3, it looks like. So my prediction, I don't even give myself partial credit for this. Well, wait, I guess we did get partial. So I said there would be a story content drop in the summer, and which was not when we got the most. No, wait, we did. We got the the Jedi Temple, and we
Yeah,
got the Mandalorian story.
I think that's a star. I think you get a star.
All right. And then I said pervasive graphic updates for the 10th anniversary. I don't really know what I meant by pervasive. I don't think that's the right word. Extensive, maybe I was thinking.
Extensive, invasive.
Invasive, pervasive. I mean,
These graphics are getting in my eyeballs.
I broad sweeping graphics updates. I don't know how much of that we're going to be getting. I get a partial at best. Some of that will be in the
I think
7.0
so.
release, but it's
Yep.
not out there yet. We didn't get that in 2021. And then I predicted more of this, which was way off. And it hasn't even been announced at all for 7.x content yet, which is I predicted 2 new PvP maps, 1 arena and 1 8v8 new game type. A new, a new game mode for
Right.
PvP. We got none of that. So that's kind of like I think that's a kind of a miss. And I'm surprised we haven't heard more angst about that from the PvP community. Maybe I'm just not listening as much as I could be, um, because even in the announcement of what's coming for 7.0, there's not much new fun for PvP. What you do get, and they do count this, is if we're resetting the abilities and we're putting new gear levels in, the meta changes, and in theory, that's content for PvPers,
Yeah.
which it kind of is. If you take a game like StarCraft, that's what the content updates are. It's when they make tweaks to abilities and do a little bit of balance changes, and there's a new meta,
And then you play differently. Yeah.
and you do play differently, and maybe you switch characters to compensate, and maybe you need to change how you react to other players' characters. The addition of combat styles, addition of loadouts. These will affect PvP. They are part of the PvP content. I still think they're justified in desiring and wanting another map and maybe a game type as well. So we'll have to see on that. So what did you wish for? And I gave you 2 stars under wishes, Seema, for your wishes, your crazy wishes for
I
2021.
know because one of my wishes was multi-tagging, and
Yes.
we're actually gonna get that.
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner. That is a really cool one. Yeah. I mean, again, we didn't get it yet in 2021, but we got it on the PTS, and it's a real thing, and it's coming. And yeah, for that to show up as a wish, I thought that was really cool.
I'm excited for it too. And then the other one that I got a star for is I wished for weapons in the outfitter, and that's gonna
Right.
happen too.
Right on. That's another big one, and a definite spot on update. And it wasn't even a wish. It wasn't even a prediction. It was a crazy wish of yours.
Yeah. Maybe they were listening. No, don't go there.
I made
Don't
my
go there,
wishes
Seema.
really crazy this year, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I tried to go
So if
crazy
they're
too.
listening, we'll see what we get this year.
What were some of your wishes for last year?
My wishes were GSF, some kind of GSF update. I wished for that, and I wanted legacy hangers. And then a bonus wish on that was some sort of crafting ability that was related
Mhm.
to GSF.
Mhm. Yeah, make our own ships.
My next wish was a roguelike for uh for Star Wars. Some sort of like Flashpoint that, that's got like 100 levels,
Mhm.
and as you go, maybe they're even randomly generated. You're going through some sort of space station, and each level you go up, you can get other extra power-ups and things like that. That kind of roguelike feature in MMOs was big in 2020 and 2021. It
And it
was
can be
added.
fun. Getting
Yeah,
those power-ups can be fun.
and it can be really repeatable. So
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of thing, game
Would be
development
a good
studios should look really hard.
yeah.
They should look hard at it. If it's kind of content you can put in that's really repeatable and replayable, there's a big reasons to try to go after that.
And
You have
also it can be solo content, and there's a lot of solo players in our game.
right, right. You can do those solo. Yeah, that's interesting too. And then I wished for operations. I wished for an operation. Oh, I wish for a Mandalorian war operation on Mandalore. Oh, I like that. I still like that wish.
I do too.
And then I wished for a Malgus related operation, but don't make us fight or kill Malgus because I don't want to kill Malgus. But that's
I
just me.
know, because 'cause you're a
Um,
Malgus fanboy.
yeah. So we'll see where that ends up because Malgus is going to be involved, and I think we are going to end up fighting him in 7.0 somewhere, 7.x. So we'll see. So that's where we were. We did pretty good. SEMA did great. Got some extra bonus points there. I think SEMA is the winner. I will give you the standard prize, SEMA, one cartel coin.
Thank you.
You'll get from me. There you go.
I won't spend it all in one place.
All right. 2022, always in motion is the future, SEMA.
Difficult to see. Always in motion is the future.
Use your force powers. Use your Kwisatz Haderach prediction of the future powers to look down the timelines and see where things are going. Give me some predictions for 2022, SEMA.
So, I kinda struggled with predictions this year because I feel like there's a pretty good chunk of stuff that is already going to happen that we don't know exactly yet. Or and then there's a chunk too that I personally don't understand how it's gonna affect me really. Because thinking about things and reading about them and doing them
Yep.
on the PTS is different than just playing the game that they're in. Um, but I did think that it's possible. I don't know if this is a prediction. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year because we just got Feast of Prosperity. But it would be interesting. They might come up. Okay, I'll just predict a new event to add to the lineup of events. Not a Feast of Prosperity or Life Day type of thing. More like a bounty contract week kind of thing. Um, and then as a joke, I said, maybe a Valentine's Day event where you can relive the cutscenes of your favorite romances or something.
Well, it's a thing.
Actually, reliving cutscenes is something they should do somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like that would even be there would be a more effective way to do that. Have some sort of console where you have recordings that you can go through. It
Right,
seems
like or a holocron that would take you
like pop you
into
up
your
and
mind
inject,
in that
yeah,
point.
inject, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Jack it into matrix into the back of your skull and put you in there. Right.
I'm purposefully not saying like a holodeck. That would just be wrong.
uh,
Okay, I also predict there's going to be some kind of a rework of loadouts.
mm,
Like
okay.
loadouts will come out and I'm not talking about just like bug fixes. I'm talking about they'll come out and once everybody understands how it's hitting them and how it affects their day-to-day game, there's going to be some like how Conquest went through.
Yeah. Right. I think that's a good prediction. I like that. I think it's such a new and interesting and complex system that I think there'll be issues and bugs that they'll want to fix, and then there'll be, potentially just rethinking the implications of how it works out and an opportunity to tweak it and revamp it and continue to develop it as an idea and a feature. That's good. I didn't look at all these beforehand, so I'm just hearing that for the first time. That one's good.
I think we might see more examples of community participation at a high level like the screenshot contest. So like maybe more it would be easy to do more screenshot contests, but maybe they could think of other things too.
Sure. That's a good one. And I think that's reasonable again with the tie-in of the way they're treating the 10th anniversary is it's going to extend throughout 2022. The idea that they've described to us so far as they've streamed and given us news is that this is an extended celebration. With that in mind, there should be community aspects to it. So, uh,
Um, yeah, and then I also predict everything that happens in 7.0, in 7.x.
you, wait, explain that.
Well, I mean, just like I said in the beginning, is there's a lot coming in 7.0, and I predict all of that too. That'll happen too.
But you're not going to say exactly what that is. You're just going to take credit for whatever ends up
Yeah.
happening.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I'm not going to make a note of that one.
Okay. Fair
Unfair.
enough.
We will have releases beyond 7.1, 7.0, and they will
Yes.
have stuff. You can't just say stuff and get credit for stuff.
I already did.
All right. Well, all right. I guess you did. You have dibs on stuff. There you go.
Yes.
My predictions. I predict, and I think you have a rebuttal to my first prediction. I predict we already know we're getting one operation. We're getting the anomaly. I predict we will be getting a second operation sometime in 2022, and it will be Malgus focused.
Oh, you and your second operations. When has that ever worked out?
What about second operation?
Yes. I mean, that's my rebuttal. There isn't going to be a second operation.
Okay, so your top line rebuttal is no second operation at all. So not
Yeah.
just the Malgus part, but you think
Right.
I'm going to I always ask for more I always predict and ask for and wish for more operations and don't get them. So you're doing the, the plus or minus on my prediction and going with, no, you're going to fail again on this one, Max. Okay. That's not
I mean,
unreasonable. That's
right.
that's
Right.
that's a pretty good bet based on my previous track record of predicting that kind of stuff.
But I mean, I'm with you that I don't want to have a Malgus boss fight. However, MMOs in general have a really bad track record with that.
I especially don't want to kill Malgus. I could
Yeah.
see a Malgus boss fight, but I don't want to kill Malgus. I don't want to just have some, unless it's like super epic and worth it. We killed Malgus in a flashpoint, with, quote unquote, defeated Malgus in a flashpoint in chapter 3 of our class stories
Right.
on Ilum. Ilum? Yeah. Yeah, that all happens on Ilum in the 2 Malgus focused flashpoints. I don't want to do it again, especially not at a flashpoint. Just go and have another fight with Malgus and throw a grenade and knock him down a hole. That would be disappointing. If you're gonna make him the big bad end boss of an operation, then fine. You better make it epic, more epic than anything I've ever seen before for it to be worth it. So big
I mean, is
expectations there if you're gonna do
is
that.
he going to be let's get serious about predicting for Malgus. Is he going to be the big antagonist for the next 10 years?
I don't know.
Like we had one big antagonist for the previous 10 years.
I see. I don't know. With the way this seems to be headed, I'm afraid that the answer to that is no. And he can't be, because we're going to need to get back to be, well, I don't know. I don't know. He's not an emperor. He's not he's neither republic nor imperial at this point,
Mhm.
which
And chat room is basically pointing that out too. Do we see this as another faction coming?
I think that would be difficult. That's my main problem with it. I think it would be difficult, and I think it would be difficult for it to be a sort of a third faction with citizens of the Empire and Republic as part of that faction. I think you could have a third entity that's part of the story that the Republic and the Imperial fight against and maybe join up and fight against, but it would have to be something like the Rakata. I don't think you can do it with Malgus and have that sort of like be a third faction and have people and some troopers or like another empire,
It's
but we fight against it because I don't know that just that I don't well I guess we kind of had that with Zakul
yeah, that's well, no, and we kinda had the Empire people joining from the Empire and the Republic with the
with
Alliance.
the Alliance, but you would have to scope out like like a home planet or a fleet or space stations,
Yeah,
or you can't just
yeah.
have Malgus flying around by himself and make that the third faction.
No. No, 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 no.
And that doesn't exist just
But
yet.
he should have followers and armies and stuff.
Maybe so he's out there getting all of this stuff, these relics. Maybe the relics are the what is it? The infinite engine, the the thing that the Star Forge. Maybe he will. Maybe he can start up a Star Forge and spawn up a a fleet and an empire out of thin air. I don't know. It seems like a little bit of a stretch to me, but
I mean, it's kinda like the Dreadmasters too, like, sort of they sort of left the Empire and started doing their own thing.
yeah, yeah,
We had to defeat them.
yep. Yeah, maybe I'm underselling it, and maybe
I
it
don't know.
can be that. The Dread Masters were a big deal for a long, long time.
Yeah, they were.
Let's see, what else did I predict? I predicted another Flashpoint, but it would be a side story. And the Anomaly is kind of a side story, and our first Flashpoint is kind of a side story. But I predicted there would be another sort of side story Flashpoint going on. More of that. It doesn't have to be the same. I guess the first Flashpoint we're getting is the Elam, which is Malgus and main story focused. So I
Right,
predicted
but
we'll
doesn't
get another side
wouldn't you
story.
say that Spirit of Vengeance, counts for this? Or was that in 2020?
Well, I'm saying we'll get another one, so maybe a sequel to what like
Oh, I see
continuing
what you're
down that
saying.
Mandalorian
Yes, yes,
stuff
yes,
would
yes,
would
yes.
fit into
Gotcha.
this.
Like a
Yeah,
follow-on to that.
yeah. Uh, and then I'm predicting this is kind of bold prediction, but some big new gameplay feature that we haven't heard of yet, and they haven't even hinted at yet, that will come late in the year. And by feature, I mean something on the order of Strongholds or a Galactic Starfighter level feature
Yeah,
being
yeah.
added to the game. I don't know what that is. I'm not predicting what that feature would be. It could be like some of my wishes, like the roguelike kind of thing.
Mhm.
But some system, some feature, some playable thing being added that they haven't hinted at yet, and they want to surprise us with. A couple other. So I went big on my predictions. I've got a few more. Playable race, another playable race being added sometime this year. Again, late. They haven't hinted at it yet, and they're going to surprise us. I looks like I doubled down.
Ortolan.
Ortolans, yes. Ortolan, playable Ortolans. Sounds good.
Yes.
Yes. Bring it on, Ortolan, buddy. That's what he said. He said, "Yeah, we're gonna be the new playable race. Bing bong." That's what he said. Uh, I doubled down. It looks like, and I probably predicted this all the time. PvP, a new PvP mode and map, so another PvP game. And then, oh, here's one that I added as a prediction, and again, I was
Yeah.
trying to go bold.
I'm
Is
interested to hear about this one.
is expanded support in some way for RP to the point where like maybe adding chat bubbles and maybe adding extended support like quick bar support for emotes. And the reason I think it would be a really good idea and that they might be wanting to do this, because if you look at gaming trends of where things are going in the sort of the 2022 timeframe, the whole idea of like virtual chat room, the metaverse kind
Yeah,
of thing,
yeah,
it's
you're right.
gonna be big. And
Again.
I th-
Yeah.
I think extending RP is a way to make that available to people. If I can have like chat bubbles and I can have, actions and emotes at my fingertips, and we're adding, cosmetic weapons and more cosmetics and all that kind of thing, you get a cool little metaverse chat room going on with your RP, or even with our guild. We can have people standing around the guild ship and have more of that going on with that kind of expanded RP support. Like, I mean, you don't even have to RP with that stuff. You can just use it sort of for that virtual chat room kind of effect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a solid prediction. I think it's a little of a stretch, but I think it's solid. So that's where I'm at on predictions. But now, Seema, we get to get a little crazy up in here. What are your wishes? What's your wall of crazy? Where are you going with this, Seema?
So I made a rule for myself this year with my wishes that I would not wish for anything I had wished for before, because who wants to hear me say every year searchable inventory? So
I'm
the
scanning and
first one,
scanning animal husbandry. I don't see it on the
not there.
list.
It's not
Ah,
there.
crazy. This is the
So
year that they're gonna do it though, and you're gonna be disappointed that you missed
I
out.
I I well, there is something on there that might approach that. But
Okay.
so the first thing is, and they did talk about, Keith has talked about, some improvements to um how they do graphics and stuff. So I put on here like floofy dresses and flowy hair. So like everything doesn't have to be skin tight or rigid.
Hmm. You've been watching historical reenactments, and you want hoop
Yes,
skirts.
I that absolutely. Yes, that has
It is.
influenced me largely. I am watching a costume drama right now and all the dresses are so gorgeous. Yeah. But
That's
it
awesome.
doesn't have to be Queen Elizabeth style, but this would go for robes too, like Jedi robes and like the duster, Nico Akar's duster,
Smugglers
you
can
know.
have big puffy pirate shirts.
Yes, that like ripple in the wind.
Yes,
Um,
flowy, the flowy romance novel hair, blonde hair that blows in the wind.
yes, continually, even when there's no wind,
Yes, even when there's no wind.
right?
Maybe you have a little hover droid drone that is in front of you, just blowing wind at you the whole time.
Oh, that's a great idea. A selfie droid to put wind in your face. Um, I would like to see, okay, it's a little bit more serious wish. So I would like to see more Erin Lanier. And I want her to, be in the story that's coming up. Don't want her to actually necessarily be a companion though. I would like her to get like I would like to I would like us to find out that she's even got deeper reservoirs of power than we know about. And that she
Yes.
did, yeah.
That's fun. I think that's
Yeah.
that's good. If you read the Deceived novel, which is Malgus, it's really Aaron's story, and
Uh-huh.
she's a good character, and I think there is quite kind of a lot there, and she's no longer really a Jedi. I mean, she's got a lightsaber and she can use it, and she's got Jedi powers, but she stepped away from the Order. That and her, in some ways, being able to fight against and be involved with and up against as a foil to Malgus is kind of really interesting, and they should develop her more. And I like your point on not a companion necessarily, or not a companion, period. I feel like it does diminish characters a little bit if you make them a companion.
Right.
Like if we had a Malgus companion right now, obviously that wouldn't work for one. They'd have to take it away. And for two, it it makes them a little bit smaller than they could be.
Right. And I mean, do you really want Malgus healing you?
Yeah, that
I
would
mean,
really,
no,
yeah,
I'm
just
not
like
quite.
sitting behind
Yes,
you and,
like would
just
that be
healing and
wise? But also, it's just to speaking to you, it makes him smaller. I mean, he's a huge character. He shouldn't be
yeah,
standing behind you healing you while you kill
right.
Nexus.
Even
Okay.
when you could have Darth Mar and have Darth Mar healing you, I felt that was a little weird and didn't
Yeah.
feel right.
Yeah. And on that topic, I would like to know what's up with Shatil Shan. What's she doing? I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
more Shatil Shan.
wasn't she?
I
She's
mean,
trapped. She's floating in some ship somewhere. Did that ever get resolved?
and there's like yeah, we cured some of the Jedi of the weirdly vicious disease, but I mean, now what's she doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Anyway, so
But she no,
story.
yeah, no, she's back. She's back at the Jedi Temple because Aaron Lanier, she
Yeah,
talks to
because
Aaron.
Aaron Lanier. Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
That's true.
But yeah, let's
And
get a
and
little more
and they
Satele, and let's get really like senior, like Yoda level, old wise Satele Shan. She's not that old, but I mean, even in this point of the story, but she's like the senior
but
statesman,
but she's been here from the beginning of
right?
our run with SWTOR, and I mean, I would say Jace Malcolm too, but we can't.
Right, because he's been Schrodingered.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. So Zen is like, did you even play Echoes of Oblivion? Yes, we did. We
it's
just don't always remember everything. All right.
Jeez, we're not human codexes like you are, Zen.
Right. But I'm glad you're here to keep us in line. Um, I would like something interesting to happen to crafting.
Mhm.
Like for a while now, crafting has
Thumbs up.
been more focused on making it difficult to craft the highest stuff, which I'm fine, whatever, go along with that. But that is not all that interesting to almost anybody.
Ooh, I have an extension of this was one of my wishes. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So I want to be able to craft things that we can't craft right now, like ships, like for GSF, toys, decos, whatever. But I would love it if they could add some way that when we craft something, we personalize it. So instead of going down the path like they did with Cybertech, where you can make a few vehicles, but everyone can make those few vehicles and then they have no value to anybody.
Right,
I
right.
wanted to make it so that um, you could, through mastering your craft and doing more of it and following different pathways, you could become, well, like just using a simplified example. Say you sort of became the master of the color blue, and so when you made something, would have a higher chance of being a
Yeah.
blue version of that, or have blue details or something like that. Whereas if somebody else made the same recipe, depending on how they'd gone down their path of crafting, it would be something
Oh,
different.
this
And
is so
so
good.
when you
This is so good. This fits in with mine so well. I love this.
so that it would be worth doing crafting, and also it would also be engaging to do. Not only worth it, but it'd be fun to go down that path.
Okay, let me just do mine as an addendum
Okay.
to this one because it sort of
Okay.
extends that. So one of the other things that is big with 2022 and beyond, it's really hot in the market right now is NFTs, right? And
Mhm.
NFTs in games. Uh, there's a lot of backlash on that too. I don't think they need to necessarily implement it as an NFT, but
Mhm.
my idea was some sort of cosmetic creator engine for things like armors and weapons and
Oh,
whatever
that would be
whatever. And
awesome.
so
Yeah.
like this for mounts. If you could have either a cosmetic creator engine or even just your way where yes, like a tree where you end up mastering like a colors or patterns or styles,
Yeah.
and because there's e- e- enough randomization, you could create something completely new, and that if you've got enough characteristics of the customization, you could create something completely new that no one ever has ever created before. And NFT style, maybe you get credit for that. It becomes
Mhm.
your thing. And then they put those things that are like, and maybe they're really hard to create. You can only create one a week, and you have to like grind out a whole bunch of materials to make the creation. And then they put those in the cartel market. And if you were the sort of the NFT owner for that style, and other people buy it off the cartel market, you get a cut in cartel coins, because that's the way NFTs work. NFTs is you almost kind of like have ownership of the IP, but as that gets potentially sort of resold, you can, through the NFT chain, get credit for that resale and potentially get a cut of it, depending on how it's implemented. Again, they don't have to use the NFT chain to do this, but if SEMA then, if you had a really awesome floofy dress that you created, you put it in the cartel market, it gets really popular. It's on there for 1,000 cartel coins. Maybe you get 10 coins every time somebody buys one off the cartel market.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
would be
that's
awesome.
that's wild and out there, but it gets this it it feeds into, and we will have games in the industry that are doing what I just described, that will be coming or will be implemented in existing properties, or new games will be implemented that do this with NFTs in particular, coming in 2022, 2023. So uh, why doesn't BioWare get ahead of it and put
Yeah.
it in SWTOR this way? Cool, cool. Yeah, I love that. And the creator engine, I think, would be a difficult to implement. I think your way might be an easier way to implement it, much more sort of randomness, but a tree of specialization which allows you to
Mhm.
sort of constrain the randomness in interesting ways, I think is a good way to maybe make it a little more possible.
And the thing I like about a tree too is like you can have multiple goals along the way, so you're kind of hitting short-term goals while you work toward long-term goals, and I think it could be very engaging.
Right, right. That and it could be a very extensive journey to get refine your skills and your customizations.
So, you remember amplifiers, right?
I remember amplifiers. They're still in the game. They won't be in
I know,
7.0, but you're right.
I
They're
know.
going away.
I was
Remember?
thinking it would be cool to have something sort of amplifier-like, but instead of affecting your gear, they would be in the outfitter. And like you could have the same sort of thing where it's really big factor of RNG or cost, but you could roll different amplifiers for your each costume so that you could actually change facets of your look. Like you could be taller or have different color eyes or different complexion or something, and it would go with that outfit.
Huh. Like appearance customization amplifiers.
Yeah.
Appearance amplifier. Amplify my appearance in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
I don't I don't know if I even like that now that I say it out loud because, like, really, I'm the same person no matter what outfit I'm wearing. I don't know
But your
if I should
hairstyle can
be taller.
change and, so maybe you styled your hair different on different days.
Maybe it goes with yes, hair color would be a good one too. And, like, eye color because maybe you're wearing colored contacts.
People fluctuate in
Um,
weight. Maybe I got really buff one day and then I stopped working out.
or
Uh,
maybe you could have amplifiers that affected outfit, but you could also have amplifiers that affect your actual character type so that you could, get smaller or
may-
get taller.
maybe I
Yeah.
grow tentacles out of my head and become a
Nodelin.
become a nautilin someday. Yeah.
Okay, and then I have an easy one for my last one, which is and I've been saying this for a while, so but I don't think I ever actually put this in a wish, which is I would like to see normal ups come back. And what I mean by that is I'm totally behind the whole story mode thing, making story mode reducing the mechanics in a story mode operation so that people who don't know each other can be successful in the operation even if they're not on voice. But I would like to see the normal version of ops where all the mechanics are in, but they're not as difficult as veteran mode.
Right.
So a casual group can have fun in op learning all the mechanics and having fun and challenge without having to go all the way to veteran mode ops. And
That's
I
interesting. Yep. It
like because
is
I
it
could
is kind of a
see in
big leap.
our group for MFN, when we do ops, I could see us doing normal mode Draxus versus this completely stripped down Draxus fight.
Right. Right.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we should probably be doing more event modes as well because we've been together for a while. But no, a new group that gets together, the you're just the gap between story mode, which is really dumbed down and easy, and vet mode is big and can be a big barrier to be to progressing at all.
Yeah, because
So
like, story mode is not challenging enough to do in a recurring team, and sometimes veteran mode yeah, it's a big gap, that's all I'm saying.
you want you want to learn what progression means, and being completely blocked by veteran mode, it isn't a good learning engine for that. Yeah, okay.
So those are my wishes for this year.
My wishes, just to round us out, I wish for, based on what I've been doing lately, but it's also big and it's another one of those trends that we're seeing in the marketplace, VR. Uh, I think this is a real stretch. It would be very difficult for them to just have like full VR, like a VR mode for Star Wars: The Old Republic. They would need to, and this is a journey that they've taken even a first step on, but they would really need to trim down the abilities, and almost get it to the point where, and this is probably what they would end up doing first, is make it work on consoles. If they could make it work on consoles, then the ability set would have to be whittled down enough where you could use a controller. I can't have here. Here's where I am. I've got 24 buttons on my main bar that I use in my, when I'm doing a battle, and then extra stuff on these two other bars, and then a bunch of mounts all over the place and this kind of thing. You can't have 24 abilities. You can't even have 12 abilities if you're gonna, uh, you know, focus on an ability set that you can use a controller on. It's got to really be more like, maybe you could do 10. You can have like a set of 5 and another set of 5, and you sort of like flip between those two sets, like a defensive set and an offensive set. But you've really got to cull the abilities down. You have to get rotations down so they work with console buttons. If you can get there, then you can get closer to what you would need to do in VR. Not everything, but you can get closer. Um,
So, I've never played any VR, so but wouldn't, like, spell effects coming from all different sources all the time also be a challenge? Or ability effects and
no, that like
that's already
graphically,
baked in?
gra-
Yeah.
graphically, and so Zen's saying I'm wishing for a new game. I am a little bit, because the other thing that I think we would want to add in is gesture support. If I wave my lightsaber around, instead of me pressing my maul ability and it doing a thing, you're going to want to wave your lightsaber around. You're going to want to pull the trigger on a weapon. Um,
Right, and then you'd have to be holding something.
you do that with the controllers. So
Yeah, okay.
the hand gesture controllers, you can do all of that. So the graphical parts of it, if we could, if get rid of the control, just allow people to walk around, like walk around on the fleet, walk around in your stronghold, that I think they could implement pretty quickly. Because that's just adding, it take a bunch of graphical power, but you're just adding, more like a first person view, and rendering everything twice is basically all you're doing. I've been playing Skyrim. Skyrim is a little less, even less graphically intensive than this game is, but this game is not very graphically intensive. And there's spellcasters that are shooting lightning at you, and fireballs are flying through the air, and all that kind of stuff, and bunch of people on screen, and
But are they oh, there are a bunch of people, so there could be,
yep,
like,
yep.
24 people? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't come across 24. You can walk through a town and have 24 townspeople around you,
But, I mean, they
but
aren't
I haven't been
all
in a battle.
waving their yeah, right.
I've been in battles
Gotcha.
of maybe like 8 to 10 NPCs, and me and 2 companions fighting against them, and it seems to work just fine. But yeah, it's a big stretch. I don't really expect it. It's a wild wish.
Yeah.
Uh, Another wild wish, uh, but I think is a little potentially more realistic, and gets to the conversation we were having earlier about third faction and where that's going. I would love it if they would take down the faction walls. So everything could end up being cross faction. Guild support. Maybe we'd have to double the guild limit, but we could have one guild that has Republic and Imperial members in it. We could, as a Imperial character, I could go revisit the Republic fleet. Just take down the faction walls, make everything cross faction, make all the queues cross faction, make queuing for flashpoints and operations cross faction. There are some things that would break in a little bit in doing that because the story is different in some of the flashpoints and operations, depending if you're a Republic or Imperial. But I would love that as a
But they
wish.
could split them out. They could split them out. Like,
Yep.
there could be, like, all the new ones would be cross-faction and some of the old ones, but then some that have separate story could remain just like there's, Terrace and
Right.
has different versions of Terrace.
Right. There's different
Um,
versions of the planet in that case.
how do you, um but how do you see I have one question about that, and this is very important.
Mm.
Would that mean that we could go on our Republic characters, we could go to the Imperial fleet?
Yes. And I put that in here
Ooh.
specifically. Wouldn't that be cool? I want to go
Yeah.
there. I want to go there. I want to go there, and I want uh for PvPers to be able to go to the PvP map and fight on each other's fleets even.
Yeah.
That would, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
it,
Or
I
get
mean,
killed by the NPCs on that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So I think that would be cool and
On the
also
Imperial fleet, they just have to
solve some
push you
things.
off the ramp.
Yeah, exactly. You're just gonna just constantly get knocked back and knocked off down the holes. Um, and then I had my one that we already talked about, the NFT style support for cosmetic creation, crafting kind of thing combined with yours. I think is a really cool way to implement that. And then my last one is procedural generation. I've talked about this before, but I look back, it wasn't actually in any of my wishes in the past. I'm making it an official wish. Um, Procedural generation of like outer region planets. And my idea here, as I sort of expanded on it a little bit, was you can create procedurally generated planets with creatures on them and locations to go to and achievements and missions, dailies, weeklies, as you go to those planets, and then maybe extend that a little bit, where the more your guild does on that new procedurally generated planet, you almost have like a mini conquest focused around this procedurally generated planet, and you can ultimately win it. And my view there was maybe these procedurally generated planets come and go. Maybe
Mhm.
weekly. I think that's too short a time frame. But maybe it's like a season or like a month or a quarter or some sort of thing where a new set of planets are discovered in the outer rim that are procedurally generated. We go to them. We get to explore them. We get to do dailies and heroics there. We get to fight battles there. But then they disappear over time then too. And
So
and new ones appear and are procedurally generated.
so do you see, like, them coming and going, sort of like an event where, you log in and on the fleet, they're making announcements, "Oh, we found these new planets.
A
Time
new
to go
hyperlane
explore."
has opened up,
Yeah,
and
or do
then
you see it as, like, people could be out exploring that, like, to go out exploring could become a thing, and then they would find the new planets?
uh, more the
The first thing, yeah.
more the first thing. I think the second thing,
Gotcha.
we don't have like open exploration
You
in
know, you're
space.
right, there's not a good way to do it. Yeah.
That I mean that's how No Man's Sky works. It's open
Yes.
exploration in space,
That's
and you
why I thought
find
maybe
new
you were thinking
procedure gen.
about No Man's Sky,
No,
yeah.
no, I'm thinking like 10 new planets. Um, a new hyperlane has been discovered, and these 10 new planets sort of just get generated. They run it, and in maintenance, 10 new planets get procedurally generated. They can end up being wacky or weird. Maybe they generate like 20 of them, and they pick the 10 that they like.
Maybe you can earn rep with their vendors and then buy things.
s- weird things specific to those planets again that are procedurally generated cosmetics, procedurally generated mounts, all of that kind of stuff. That I mean, they do
I
this
mean,
in
like,
No Man's Sky. They
they could have
procedurally generated ships.
procedurally generated sandwiches that they sell on a vendor.
Procedurally generated sandwiches. SEMA is coming through with the refined ideas that make it a reality. Yeah, instead of Rhodian mayo made out of Rhodians, It could be noddle and mayo sandwiches.
Right.
That would be excellent. But yeah, so then you've got like these little seasons, and then the hyperlane shuts down, and those are lost. They're lost in space. But you could have achievements for the guild, like a title for the guild that like conquered it when it was available, and that kind of stuff as they come and go. Procedurally generation is another one of those. I think I think is really an underused tool. There's more
I
and
do
more of
too.
it that's ending up in new games. But you are seeing it in some of the roguelikes. Roguelikes are ending up being procedurally
Yeah.
generated.
Right.
It's a much more constrained set of parameters that creates like a little bit of a map and the
Right. Because it has to make
stuff in
sure
there.
that they, floor 2 kind of matches with floor 1
And
and
like
on up. Yeah.
the islands, and with what were the islands that were the last expansion in WoW? There was procedural generation of stuff going on in there. The terrain wasn't procedurally generated in those cases. I would want the terrain to be procedurally generated
Right.
uh, in these cases, so that you can have real
Eh, so that you could get stuck in
weird
it.
new, so you can get stuck in it. Well, that's what would happen in SWTOR, wouldn't it? Um, yeah, I guess that's the problem there. But yeah, weird new fun stuff and weird new
I meant
creatures that we
you.
haven't
You
seen
would get
before.
stuck in it.
I would get stuck in it my first time I set foot on any of them. Yes. Within 30 seconds, I would find a way to get stuck in the train.
Actually, that's a good point, Forster. He points
Yeah.
out that he kind of flirted with Quat drive yards.
That was
So,
almost
yeah.
roguelike in the
Yeah.
way that worked out. Good call. Good reminder. Quad
Just
drive
need the
yards.
just need the power-ups.
Right. Right. Which we've had in uprisings. Uprisings have a form of power-ups that you get along the way.
Yes, but they need to be more interesting
Yes.
power-ups.
Yes, they do. They need to be wild
Also
and
star
crazy, like
fortresses. Yeah.
your your lightning storm is 3 times the radius, and
Yes. Yes.
and you're
Or it goes off when you go too close to a wall. Something,
yeah. Yeah, weird stuff. You run at double speed, all the kinds of
Yes.
things that roguelikes really
Right.
end up doing.
You jump twice as far, so you end up going off things if you're not
Yeah,
careful.
super high. It's high jump. You're really bouncy. You're jumping
Or
way high, way
you
high in the
can
air.
you your force quake is 3 times as powerful, but you can't walk backwards.
Everybody in a group can pull out their companions.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way roguelikes really work. Is you allow people to get really ridiculously overpowered, and it's okay
Yes. Yes,
because it's
because it's
constrained to
contained
that weird environment.
in that instance, yeah, and then it's just kind of disappointing when you finish it and you win and you go back to the real world and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, exactly,
I can't
exactly.
jump as high anymore."
I don't have I can't light my oil slick on fire and burn the whole room.
Right? But that's so fun.
It is. It's really fun.
I love that idea.
All right. Well, we tried to push it this year. I think we did a good job, Seema. We'll have to see how these are looking as the year progresses. I think we have a lot to look forward to, and I think we have a lot more mystery on what's coming out. They've sort of hinted that there will be quite a bit more to look forward to as we get deeper into the 7.x timeframe later in the year. I think
Remember, I predicted all of that.
you predicted stuff. Yes, I do remember. Yeah. We'll see where that goes in my notes. It might get lost. But I think I'm looking forward to the 15th of February, and I'm looking forward to seeing what stuff comes true. Anything else to ride us out of this predictions podcast into the future?
No,
All
I
right.
think we're ready. We're ready for 2022.
I predict that EPC 410 is about to get kicked out of an airlock to broadcast this episode to all of you out there. So, to wrap it up, for podcast links and to see when this goes live and see when it gets published to the feeds, follow me on Twitter at MaxTheGray. And if you know people that should be playing with us, tell them to check us out on the podcast here live on twitch.tv on Thursday nights, on newoverlords.com, where you're going to find more of all of the links and resources. And come find us at aie-guild.org. Our Discord link is in the upper right. You can jump in there. You can get into our SWTOR channels. We have guilds on the Imperial and Republic side of Starforge, or you can join any of the other games in our community that we play. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.
Oops. Oh. Messed up the end there. Later. Say it again. I'll talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.